Hong Kong is marking the anniversary of its transfer to China with ceremonies and protests. Police used batons and pepper spray to disperse a crowd of pro-democracy demonstrators who had occupied a road near the city's government complex. The activists had squatted the area because it was near the site of an official flag-raising ceremony. On this day, 22 years ago, Britain handed over the former colony to mainland China under a deal that would ensure democratic rights for the city's people. The activists now fear those rights are being rolled back. Well, for more now from Hong Kong, let's cross over to our correspondent there, Phoebe Kong. Phoebe, what's happening on the streets of Hong Kong right now?
Hi, I'm right now at the point very near to the starting point of the rally happening very soon in the afternoon. And we can see at my back, political parties and civil activist groups, they are setting up booths to on the route of the rallies. And people started to gather to enter the starting point to participate in the annual rallies. And it is expected to take place very shortly, about half an hour later. So this is an annual rally which is held every year on June 1st. And at the same time, right now, outside the government headquarters and Lashko, a bunch of protesters, some of them, they are now having clashes with the police and the legislative council because they are trying to break into the legislative council complex by using something to knock into the door of the legislative council. So we will have a look at that, but obviously some of the scenes shows on the pictures are pretty violent.
We're just seeing some pictures there on our screen of those protesters trying to break into the Legislative Council building. It's obviously quite dramatic at this point. Now, Hong Kong's, as though this demonstration is happening on the anniversary of Hong Kong's reunification with China. What are those demonstrators out there demanding?
This is the third rally happening in Hong Kong within just a month. So we know that there are two other massive rallies which over 1 million people turn out earlier this last month in June. So they asked for to scrap the extradition bill. So today, the annual rally on June 1st, they will ask for the same thing, to scrap the extradition bill entirely, and also to retract the characterization of the rioting of the one of the violence and one of the clashes with the police, and also to release all the arrested protesters which are suspected to commit rioting crimes. And also on top of that, the organizers of the rally, they also openly call for political reform and democratic reform again, to the government. So this is a new demand other than the two massive rallies earlier in June. So we know that this kind of protest has taken place for a long period of time, and some of the protesters, they are using different kind of methods to call for their demands and to pressure the government. And we have spoke to one of the protesters, and so let's have a look on what they did in the past few weeks.
Tin is a 21-year-old student who runs a supplies station outside Hong Kong's legislature. It's been the scene of frequent demonstrations in recent weeks. It all started online and yielded real-world results.
We recruited over 1,000 members on the first day when I launched the Telegram group. I also cooperate with an online forum. Whenever I post a message, I always receive the first response within a minute.
These are the most popular tools for protesters. By using Telegram, an encrypted messaging app, along with an online discussion forum, people respond to calls for mass gatherings in order to block roads and government offices on short notice. Tin and the other activists also respond swiftly by delivering protective gear and mobilizing helpers to the front line. In the latest wave of demonstrations, the protest leaders themselves are often just a few of the many key players.
We resist any affiliation with political parties. Online platforms are the most neutral medium because all initiatives are spontaneous. It reflects the will of the people, but not any organization. That's why people are keen to join.
The leaderless movement is led by nobody but the crowd. While hot topics on forums spawn protest action, online polls are also taken before or during demonstrations to let protesters make collective decisions. Compared to his own experience in the umbrella movement, Tin says the new tactics can attract supporters beyond Hong Kong's traditional activist scene.
Although this movement hasn't succeeded yet because top leaders of the government still reject our demands, we learned from the failure of the umbrella movement and developed new strategies to pressure the authorities. We will continue to fight until all our goals are achieved.
Many young protesters like Tin believe that by expanding beyond conventional rallies, a multi-pronged approach is harder to defeat and even has a chance of bringing the change they desire.
Now, Phoebe, Hong Kong's chief executive, Carrie Lam, she has said that recent protests show the government needs to spend more time listening to the people. Are there signs that the government is now prepared to be more accommodating with respect to the protesters' demands?
Yeah, what you have mentioned is Carrie Lam's first appearance since within nearly 2 weeks that she has disappeared from the public sight for nearly 2 weeks. And this is the first time she showed up again and gave a speech during a celebration ceremony of the handover of Hong Kong to China. And what she said is just like you have mentioned, that she admits that the extradition bill policy stirred controversy and dispute within the community, the society, but she has mentioned nothing about the demands of the protesters regarding whether to withdraw the extradition bill or not, or regarding whether she will step down or not. This is also one of the major demands of the protesters. So many of them, they think that Carrie Lam's speech simply ignore their demands, and they are certainly not happy about it, and they will voice their concerns again on the streets later in this rally.
Phoebe, thank you very much. DW's Phoebe Kong there in Hong Kong.